Hey, friends, it is Becky Davidson, and we are in the Getting to Yes, the Roadmap to the Close training. And this topic we are talking about is so valuable and so important, how to create sense of urgency without being pushy. And this has been on my mind to do a training on this for a while because I think there's a lot of things going on with a sense of urgency. Typically, as salespeople or business builders, when we're calling on buyers, prospects, they don't have a lot of sense of urgency unless they need something. Today we bought a generator, we have snow and ice, and I have a lot of sense of urgency to get one because they're talking about outages. But if I'm selling sales training or marketing or some service that isn't a mandatory, they have to have it, a lot of times there isn't a whole lot of sense of urgency. And I'm finding a couple of things that are happening. And I've even experienced some of them in the past myself. But one, I'm seeing a lot of people that are not creating sense of urgency and not following through efficiently, and they're losing sales because of it, because they don't have their own sense of urgency. As a salesperson, a business builder, we have to have sense of urgency to close sales and to take action. And so I see that happening a lot. I'm surprised at how many people are not following up and following through and reaching out to people efficiently when people are saying, "Hey, I'm interested. Hey, I'd like to book a call." And they're just taking their sweet time getting around to it. So that is a problem. And we'll talk a little bit about that. The other thing that I see, and this is what I experienced when I was newer in sales, is people get really nervous about creating sense of urgency because they don't want to come across pushy. They don't want to push people, and I don't want you to push people either. And so we're going to talk about how to create sense of urgency without being pushy. But if we do want to have one call closes, we do want to move the sale along, we do want to do the best service for our clients, the best business for ourselves, we have to get really good at leading people to decision. And part of that is creating sense of urgency. So let's talk about this. Okay. So, so is I guess my question to you is low or no sense of urgency costing you sales? It probably is. I just had, actually one of my clients, she reached out to someone who was interested, and the person just flat out didn't follow up with them, quickly enough. And she's like, "Well, I guess they don't really want my business, so I went somewhere else." So if you don't have sense of urgency, you could be losing sales. You absolutely could be losing sales. If you don't have sense of urgency to bring value to someone, especially when they're raising their hand, then why should they give you the business? So, I mean, of course, make sure that you have sense of urgency yourself. Don't lose, business because you don't have the sense of urgency. But there are three places that you need to have a little bit of sense of urgency. One is booking appointments. When you're booking appointments, a lot of times, I've got someone, or hey, call me in a couple weeks, or if I'm in a networking group, they're like, yeah, we should get together sometime. Yeah, we should definitely book a one-to-one. I want to book a one-to-one. And they're like, yeah, give me your number and let's get together. If I didn't create the sense of urgency and if I didn't use the strategy I did, I don't know when those appointments would get booked. And we're going to talk a little bit more about that. But the first place we need to create sense of urgency is once we create interest, we need to take them from interest to getting on the calendar and booking an appointment or booking them on the next step. Two, the second place where you want to create sense of urgency is when you are on an appointment and maybe they're not quite ready to buy. We need to create sense of urgency for the follow up, for booking a meeting from a meeting, getting that next step. So we have a great call. They're not quite ready to buy. How are you creating sense of urgency to get that next step in place? And number three, the close. Are you creating sense of urgency to close the sale, to help them reach a decision? Sense of urgency is really important at the close. So let's talk a little bit about the 8 tips to increase sense of urgency on all three of those areas, but we'll talk a little bit about some of them as we go. So one, like I said earlier, you need to create your own sense of urgency. You have to be aware. You have to be listening. If you don't have sense of urgency, like if I hear anyone that has any inkling that they might be interested in what I do or have a need, I'm definitely going to communicate with them. I'm going to reach out to them. I'm going to attempt to book an appointment with them or to get on a calendar with them. So if you don't have the sense of urgency, you're going to have a little bit of a problem. Don't snooze on desire and needs. If you hear it, make sure you jump on it. Number two, are you tuned in and listening to not only buying signals and interest signals, but frustration signals or things, or maybe they're not interested. You have to be really in tune and listening to the buying signals. And when you hear a buying signal, you need to take action. Don't drag your feet because maybe your competition heard the same buying signal, or maybe they're just going to reach out to someone else and you lose the sale. So you snooze, you lose. And sense of urgency is an area that you need to be front and center on. Number three, beware to move too fast. You don't want to be too overeager. And you have to know, number three and four, you have to know what the next logical step is. So if I just recently had someone that was at a networking. I talked to her right after we were talking, and I was asking her some questions, which can be a buying signal. And then I even said, "Hey, well, I've actually talked to my son about, so I was kind of expressing a little bit of a buying signal." She's like, "Oh, here's my card." And that was kind of where it left it. And then I said, "Oh, okay, well, I teach people how to kind of convert buying signals into," and then she took it like, okay, I gave her a buying signal. I need to go hard on it. So then she went, "Hey, do you want me to send you a quote?" And I'm like, "Whoa, whoa, whoa." I'm not quite ready to go from buying signal to quote. But so what is the next logical step? If it's on booking, the next logical step is to book the meeting, and not to move too fast because you don't want to scare them off. You don't want them to go, "Oh my gosh, she's coming on real hard. Yeah, I just said I was interested. Now she's like, trying to close me all of a sudden." So beware of listening and making sure you're paying attention. But the next logical step in booking is, hey, this may or may not be a fit, but let's get on a call and see if it might be a fit. You want to softly book them on the next one. Let's go ahead using directive language, like let's go ahead and book our next book a call. I'd love to learn about you. So that is what I mean by not moving too fast, not going for, "Oh, great, I can send you a link and you can buy." I had someone that I gave a little buying signal on something else, and she did the same thing. "Hey, do you want me to send you some stuff on that?" And I was like, "No." Instead, you can start asking a few qualifying questions like, "Hey, if I was able to help you with that, are you even at a place where you're open to considering it?" "Well, yes, I am." "Then let's get on a call." So don't just go too fast for decision making. Um, Number four, you have to know what the right next step is. Don't move too fast, but also know what the right next step is. So it might be, if you're on a call, the next right step might be a follow-up, making sure that you have the time scheduled to follow up. If they need to think about it, they need to run it past someone. Are you creating sense of urgency for the right next step? "Hey, I know that you need to think about it. Why don't we put something on the calendar? How much time do you need? What do you need to do? Let's go ahead and get it on the calendar so we can follow up." Now, sometimes, and with a sense of urgency, they will try to put you off. "Oh, no, no, just call me in a week or two." And that's fine. I mean, when they say that, but the next one is make sure that you are making it a benefit to them if you're going to create sense of urgency. So if I'm on a meeting and I know that I have to follow up and I want to get them on a calendar to follow up to answer some questions and see, if they're ready to, move forward or not, and they don't want to book that next call. They're like, "Oh, no, no, just give me a call in a week or two, or just give me a call anytime." Well, I know how that rolls. I know that I'm going to call them. They're not going to be available. It's going to be a game of cat and mouse chase. And so what I learned is to book that meeting. And even if they tried to push that off, I'd be like, "Hey, I totally get it that you want me just to give you a call, but why don't we book a time? Because I know how that is. It'll go back and forth and we'll have trouble connecting. I just as soon have a time on the calendar so I don't waste your time, don't waste my time, and we can get it resolved really quickly and answer all your questions." So, and when you are encouraging them and overcoming that little bit of a put off, you definitely want to make it a benefit for them. like saying, "Hey, I know that I don't want to have to chase you. Let's go ahead and just get it on the calendar so we can, I can answer all your questions and get it all resolved." Or sometimes, maybe you're booking the next logical step is your book. They need to run it past a spouse or a boss or someone. And the next logical step is, hey, they have to run it past someone and you want to book that call. You want to get that call. You have to create a sense of urgency for them to want to get on that call with you. Hey, I need to talk to my boss. Give me a couple days. I should know by Wednesday. Can you give me a call on Wednesday? Hey, I could absolutely do that. Can I make a suggestion? Why don't we, that's all leading directive language. Why don't we get on a call together? I would be happy just to give you the information, but this is what's going to happen. You're going to share it with him. You're not going to have all the information. He's going to have questions. You're not going to know the answer. And then it's going to be total chaos. You're going to have to try to get back with me and get all the answers. So why don't we just get on one call so that we can get it all resolved on one call? What is typically a good time to meet with both of you? And so when I say that, I'm really painting that vision of the benefit for him to get on the next call with me and to let me be on that call with him. You don't want to just say, "Oh, well, why can't I be on that call too?" He might say, "Yeah, you can." But you have to give him logical reason why it's a benefit for him, why it's a benefit for his boss. You're going to save them time. And especially if he truly wants it, sometimes I'll ask him, "Hey, is this something you really want?" "Yes, I do." "Great. Let me be on the call with you because they're going to have questions. You're not going to have the answer. And then it's going to get stalled. A couple days go by. You're trying to catch up with me. I'm trying to catch up with you guys. Why don't we go ahead and book a call with both of us so we can get it resolved in one call? What's your calendar look?" And then I make a suggestion. "What's your calendar look like on Thursday?" "Well, let me check with him. I think we can do that." So if we don't ask, if we don't create the sense of urgency and we don't give them the right next step and the benefit for booking that right next step, they're not going to do it themselves. I promise you. They're going to say, "Oh, just give us a couple weeks and we'll talk it over." Well, in those 2 weeks, what's going to happen? He's going to forget it. He's not going to remember it. His freshest moment, his hottest moment is the day that you're talking to him. Every day beyond that day, he loses some of the knowledge, his desire level goes down, and now he has to try to convince this other person. It's just not going to happen. So if you really want that sale, if you really want that opportunity, you need to, when he's hot, when he's interested, encourage him to get you on that next appointment so you can share the information and answer questions and help him get that answered and resolved. And so that is the sense of urgency that you need to have of, let's book that call, let's get on that call. Time is not our friend in sales. When you're talking to someone and they really like it and they're really interested and they're really excited, now is the time to create that sense of urgency. Because a week from now, 2 weeks from now, 3 months from now, anything can happen. They lose their interest. Maybe they find someone else that can do it. Maybe they forget about it. Their desire goes down. So we have to create that sense of urgency to just resolve it, whether it's a yes, whether it's a no. And that's one of the things I would encourage you is when you're talking to them, "Hey, if it's a no, that's completely fine. At least we'll know." You're not selling them like, "Oh, I want to get in there and close the deal." But hey, we want to make a decision quickly so we can get this off your plate. We want to make sure that you both have all the answers you need so we can get it off the plate. Okay. Do yourself a favor and them. By doing that, you're doing yourself a favor, you're doing them a favor. When I was newer in sales, if someone said, "Oh, just email me the, prices and get back with me next month." Okay, whatever they asked me to do, I'd be okay because I was the salesperson and I wanted their business. I didn't want to, tick anyone off. I just wanted to, whatever they asked, I would do it. And what I found by doing that, I was not doing myself a favor. And not that I had to be harsh with them, but if they are interested, we have to somehow, and if they need it, if they have a want or need, they are interested, then let's help them figure it out now. And so we can go through some objection handling, like, "Hey, what do you like? What do you not like? What's holding you back? What can I solve? Let's figure this out." Sometimes you just have to figure it out to get around that if they're trying to, put you off or, kind of kick the can down the road. Because I had a client that she had a great call, she was interested, loved it, and she said, "Oh, probably won't be able to do it for about 3 months, get back with me in 3 months." I knew in 3 months she would not have that opportunity because the girl would be maybe she'd go get it done, maybe her cousin would do it. Who knows what would happen? So I gave her some strategy to get back in with sense of urgency, to give her a reason to make a decision quickly, and she signed up the same week that she tried to put her off. So I just want you to know you're not doing yourself a favor if you go, okay, whatever you say. Oh, you want me to call you in 2 weeks? Okay, I'll do that. I mean, sometimes, hey, what can I do for you today? Go through the objection handling. Why do we need to wait? What are you pondering on? What do you like? What do you don't like? Is it a money thing? But always have kind of that next step and don't give them forever to make that decision. So do yourself a favor and get really good at creating sense of urgency and next step. Okay, build buying desire. The more they want it, the more they need it, the more that urgency kicks in. Then they have their own sense of urgency. You're not creating it; they have it. And then lastly, if you're giving pricing, one thing a lot of times will implement. This is my pricing, but I have a decision maker discount. I love that. If you can make a decision within 48 hours, I'll give you a special price because I want to give people a reason to make a quick decision. And hey, yes or no, I'm cool either way, but why drag it on? I don't want this on your plate forever. I know you need this. I know you want this. I know we talked that and it seems like it's a perfect fit. And only offer these type of things and create sense of urgency if they truly need it and want it. Sometimes people do need a little nudge. Not everybody, but sometimes people need a little incentive. And I've had people, oh yeah, I want to make sure I get that discount. Yeah, let's do it. So don't be afraid to give a decision maker discount and help them reach a decision. I hope this helps. If you need help strategizing how to create sense of urgency, of course, book your one-to-one with me. I'd love to help you. Have a great one.